Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Francia, and on this channel we do a little bit of everything, but lately I have been interested in true crime. And if you're interested as well, I hope you hit your subscribe button and your notification bell so that you always know when I upload. In today's story, this guy who was one of America's most chilling and elusive serial unalivers roamed the streets of New York during the late 1980s and early 1990s. Although he appeared to be a seemingly ordinary man, he hid a sinister secret that left a trail of devastation and terror. How did this quiet landscaper dude become one of the most prolific serial unalivers in US history? Let's see if we can find out. Who exactly are we talking about? Let's get into it. Joel David Rifkin was born on January 20th, 1959 in New York City to two college students who didn't have no choice but to give him up for adoption because they couldn't afford to take care of him. They could not afford to raise a child. They were broke. They were college students. I feel like there is broke and then there's college student broke, because this type of brokerization is unheard of. Okay, the level of brokerage that I was in college was incomparable. It's like, what is with this level of brokerization in college? That thing hurts deep, yo. You can't eat. You have no gas money. Like, literally, if somebody doesn't extend a giving hand. Yeah, anyways, let's move on because I'm reliving some stuff that I do not want to relive. There was some hard times. Okay, so like I said, they had no choice but to give him up for adoption, and Joel was luckily adopted by an upper middle class couple, Bernard and Jean Rifkin, from Long Island, when he was about 3 weeks old. Joel dealt with some learning disabilities. He was unknowingly dyslexic, so he didn't do too well in school. He wasn't very athletic either because he had terrible posture and he was very slow, so he was excluded from all the sports teams at school and in his neighborhood. Needless to say, he was not a very popular dude. He was not very popular at all among his classmates or anywhere for that matter. As a result, his peers ridiculed him for his awkwardness, poor social skills, and difficulty fitting in. Aw, man, poor guy. He was bullied. Kids are so cruel in school, man. I kid you not. It's like, why are we like this? Why do we do this? We're the meanest group of people. Well, not we, because I'm no longer a kid, but kids. Kids are like the meanest group of people. It's between kids and adults that are trapped in their little kid stage. I promise you, these are the meanest group of people in the world. Anyways, despite all of this, Joel never gave up. When he entered his teenage years, he still tried to find something to do with his peers and try to fit in, Lord Jesus, huh? He tried to join the track team, hoping that he would make friends, but they would bully him there too. So he got frustrated and he joined the yearbook staff. And then guess what happened? His camera was stolen. Soon as he joined the club, they stole his camera. The guy just couldn't catch a break. He was then excluded from the end of the year rap party situation. I guess, in the yearbook committee, that's a thing that happened. I don't know. I didn't go to school here. So yeah, well, not high school. I didn't go to high school here. His academic struggles and love of isolation only deepened his inner turmoil. He did find something to help him a little bit though. He became in love with photography and gardening, but even those activities couldn't stop him from developing some really dark thoughts that started to take roots. We were not created to be alone, right? If you believe in the good Lord, you know that we were not created to be alone. Although there's some of us who prefer to be alone, but there are some things if you wrestle with, it's better for you to not be alone. For example, in this guy's case, I'm going to say that he was a person that was not supposed to have time to himself to be alone with his thoughts. He was already having those weird things going through his brain which is a dangerous state to be in, then coupled with the fact that they bullied this boy so much. Now, I'm not making excuses for him. I never want to make excuses for these people, ever. But two things can be true at the same time. He experienced some very traumatic emotional stuff, and he shouldn't have been alone with his thoughts, is what I'm saying. The more he was forced to keep to himself because he felt like no one wanted him, the more disturbed his inner thoughts became, okay? He started daydreaming about raping and stabbing women. That's not normal. That is not normal. That is things you seek help for, and definitely not alone allowing these kind of thoughts to consume you. That's what I'm saying. Things were not right up there with homeboy. Wires were not properly connected, or there was a misfire or something, because why would that be a daydream of yours? You know, weird. In 1972, which would put him at right about 13, he got some inspiration from a movie and became even more fixated on the idea of strangling women, but this time he was going after sexy time workers. Yeah, that's crazy. That's why you have to be very vigilant about what your children are watching. But I think 13 is when parents are usually a little bit more relaxed. They start to loosen up the reins a little bit. I don't know. Is it just me? I don't know. I don't have teenagers, so I don't know. I almost feel like I don't want to raise my kids because it's so tricky. You know, right now they're like young and I'm like, yay, come give me a hug, whatever. But come these big ages, I'm scared, y'all. I am scared, but I shall be okay. But seriously, anyone want to raise two boys for me? No? Okay. And I don't know if his parents were not aware of exactly what was going on around that time. Like him having these crazy thoughts in his brain or whatever. They give him a car. He then started using said car to look around for sexy time workers in the Hempstead and Manhattan areas. Crazy stuff, man. 13, bro? 13 years old, and this is your aspiration? I mean, I get a 13-year-old going through puberty situation and being hot and bothered and wanting some sexy time action. I get that, but sexy time workers was your goal? But then again, he wanted to strangle them, so I guess it was more than wanting to have sexy time activities. I cannot. Joel graduated from East Meadow High School in 1977, and then he went to college, or he attempted to go to college. He took classes at Nassau Community College and then at both locations of State University of New York, but he never did earn a degree. His obsession with sexy time workers became too much, and he just kept missing classes so he could spend time with them instead. He could barely keep a job, and he would spend all the little money that he made on sexy time workers. That's crazy. He spent the 1980s going in and out of his parents' house because he would not have money to pay for his own place, because again, all his little money went to the sexy time workers. His grades were not it, and in 1984, he ended up dropping out and eventually became a self-employed landscaper. I guess good for him. On August 22nd, 1987, Joel was arrested doing a sexy time worker sting in Hempstead, New York, because homeboy went and offered some money to an undercover police officer for some sexy time, and she was like, gotcha. Oh my gosh, this dude. Like I said, his obsession with wanting to strangle the sexy time workers just kept growing, and by March of 1989 he could no longer contain his thoughts or his violent mental fantasies. And during one of those times that he was staying with his mother, he would give in to his urges for the first time. One good day, he waited for his mom to leave. I believe she was going on a trip for a few days. He then picked up this young sexy time worker by the name of Susie. He brought Susie back to the home where he bludgeoned her, and as she continued to struggle, he strangled her to death. Oh man. I know it doesn't make a difference because any deceased person is somebody's loved one, but whenever I hear young, I don't know, something in me just reacts very strongly to it. I don't know if it's the mom in me or if it's my old age, but every time I hear young, I'm like, oh man, a young person that had their whole life ahead of them. And that's so sad. 1989. How old was Joel in 1989? You know, we got to do some math. Let's see. He was born in 1959. He was about 30 years old. Oh wow. It's like he should have been old enough to not be doing this stuff, but at the same time, I guess if he was gonna start, the 30 would be a good enough age. I don't know. And because, like I said, he wasn't well, the sicko proceeded to dismember the body with a knife. It's about to be a little gruesome here, so please be advised. He obviously did not want her to be identified, so he removed her fingers and her teeth. He then severed her head and put it in an old paint can, and then he put the rest of her body in garbage bags. Because this guy did not want this lady identified, he did the most. When I tell you he did the most, he did the absolute most with her body parts. He left the paint can that had the head in the woods on a golf course somewhere. He then dumped her legs somewhere else away from the head, and then he put her arms and torso in the East River back in New York. I kid you not. So he dumped some of her in Jersey, and then the rest he dumped in New York. That's too much. That is entirely too much. Like, I know technically they're not that far away from each other or whatever, but still, that would give the police a run for their money. Imagine picking up body parts in different states. That's two different jurisdictions. Yes, I know they can work together, but again, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to identify her. Now, had he just left her alone, they could have identified her via dental records when they found the head, but he removed the teeth. Fingerprints? Yeah, he removed those too. Gosh darn it. It didn't say what he did with the fingers or the teeth, but yeah, he made sure that they would not be able to quickly identify this lady and start looking for the perpetrator ASAP. What a psycho. A few days later, someone did end up finding Susie's head on the golf course, or in that area where he dumped it, but like he intended for it to be. Police were not able to uncover her identity or who was responsible for unaliving her, for that matter. So he just went unscathed for now, I guess. But sadly, he was not done. A year later, Joel unalived another sexy time worker named Julie Blackbird. I'm guessing he was still living with his mom because he did the same thing. He waited for his mom to go out of town, and then he took Julie back to his place. They had themselves a good time for the night. He had some sexy time activities, enjoyed himself, and then the next morning he beat her until she was unconscious, and then he strangled her to death. He proceeded to also dismember her body, but he did something different this time because I guess he felt like they found the previous girl's head way too quickly, and he felt like that was way too close, so he decided to go a different route. He put her body parts in buckets that had cement or concrete in them to weigh them down, and then he dumped them in the East River in the canal in Brooklyn. Oh my goodness, this guy was something else. He was something different because what, my guy? What? Now, by the year of 1991, he had already started his landscape business. Remember, I said he eventually became a landscaper? So he had that little business running, and he decided to start hiding bodies there until he had time to go cut them and dispose of them. This guy was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. It was said that between 1989 and 1993, Joel claimed the lives of at least 17 women. Oh my goodness. That is in the span of 4 years, because 1989 to 1993. Yeah, that's about 4 years. That's crazy. He preyed on society's most vulnerable, targeting those he believed wouldn't be missed. Every time I see this, I get upset. Who died and made you the good Lord? How the heck did you get to decide that they wouldn't be missed? Again, I say, just because someone makes bad decisions does not mean that their loved ones stop loving them. And for you to decide they're up for grabs and just let's unalive them because their life choices mean they would not be missed is crazy to me. Oh man, yeah. His methods were calculated yet impulsive and chaotic, as he would, like I said before, dismember his victims and disposed of them in various locations, making it more difficult for authorities to connect the crimes. His brutality left investigators baffled for years because Homeboy didn't fit the typical profile of a serial unaliver. He wasn't charismatic or particularly intelligent, but he was meticulous in covering his tracks though, which allowed him to evade capture for so long. But nothing lasts forever. Joel's reign of terror would come to an end on June 28, 1993. What had happened was Joel picked up this sexy time worker named Tiffany B, because I cannot pronounce her last name. Now, Tiffany was with her boyfriend / PIMP, which I will never understand how you PIMP out your girlfriend. But I'm judging. I'm highly judging because it doesn't make sense to me. That's your girlfriend. If you care for that woman, why would you want her to give up her goodies to spread her hoo-ha to other dudes for money? Would we all share the profits? How do you even do it? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, she was with her boyfriend / PIMP and she told him that she was going to be about 20 minutes and she never returned. When he noticed that she didn't show as expected, he called the police and gave a description of the 1984 Mazda pickup truck that Tiffany had gotten into. Sadly, what happened to Tiffany was that after she got picked up by Joel, he strangled her to death and then he drove her to his mom's house. On the way to the mom's house, he stopped by stores to pick up supplies to situate her body, which he did. He wrapped her in stuff and put her in the back of his truck. Then when he got to the mom's house, he put her in the garage for 3 days. Mind you, it's in June, so it's not cool whatsoever. It's one of the hottest months of the year. It's the end of June going into July, so it is not cool. If I was the mom, I'd have been so upset because why are you hiding dead bodies in my garage? You're a 30-something-year-old man and I'm kind enough to let you stay with me and you're dared to bring corpses in my home? Nah, man, that's disrespectful. I know we have bigger problems than, the corpses, but how dare you, But anyways, like I said, he left the body in the garage for 3 days, went about his business, and then he came back later, grabbed the corpse, threw her in the back of his truck, and then he was on his way to go dump it somewhere when he was pulled over by a state trooper at 3:15 in the morning for missing a license plate. But it was not your regular put the siren lights on, you notice them behind you and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And then you pull over and then they grab your license and registration and then they either issue you a citation or a warning, right? No. That's not what happened. They did the whole siren thing situation for Homeboy to pull over and Homeboy was like, absolutely not. We're not going to do this. I have things in the back of this truck that you do not need to see. So I will not be stopping. And he did not. He began a high speed chase with the police instead of just pulling over like a normal person. They had to chase him for about 25 minutes before he finally lost control of the car and crashed into a light pole. Psycho. As police was approaching the truck, they caught the wind of a stench coming from the car. And as they got closer, they noticed that there was a body in the back of his truck. It was that of Tiffany. The driver was identified as Joel Rifkin and he was taken into custody. When they started interrogating him, Joel confessed to all 17 murders in chilling details, writing down names as he remembered them, and then drawing maps to different locations for police to be able to identify those people that were still missing. Wow. Police were quite literally stunned by the sheer scale of his crimes. He showed zero remorse for his actions and reflected on his capture with a mix of arrogance and detachment. He even stated, and I quote, "I just got urges and I acted on them. I didn't think I'd get caught," end quote. Yeah, my guy. God don't like ugly. I'm sure you thought you weren't going to get caught, but that's not how this works. It's so funny to me how people think that they're going to go somewhere else to pay for their crimes on this earth. But whatever you do on this good old planet is where you pay for them. So, foi bam, bagun soban so de, but you did way too much. Way too much. After his confession, he was moved to the Nassau County Correctional Facility in East Meadow while he awaited his trial. He was found guilty on 9 counts of murder and reckless endangerment for trying to evade the police in a car chase. Yep. On May 9th, 1994, he was sentenced to 203 years to life in prison. É bom, pô. O bom se eu tava chamando gamble. É chamou? Yep, that's what you get. You thought you were invincible. No good deed goes unpunished, my guy. Now, homeboy got into it with the prison officials because he was causing trouble at the prison and getting into it with other inmates. And they were like, okay, we can't do it. So you're going to have to go in solitary confinement. So they kept him in there 23 hours a day for about 4 years. And then homeboy was like, that's not right. I'm about to sue y'all. And he did. And then the Supreme Court was like, nope. We're siding with the officials. They did nothing wrong. Your rights were not violated, so you was good, fam. So yeah, he is going to rot in there for the rest of his miserable life. And I'm not mad. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Joel David Rifkin. It was said that his crimes were so bad that psychologists and criminologists were studying his case to figure out why people commit such heinous crimes. But I don't think they have made a lot of leeway or headway or advancement in their little studies because there were a lot more people that came after him. So I don't know. What would cause a person to be this evil? I just always am baffled because I don't believe people are born this way. I really don't. But then how do you become this way? We may never know the answer to that question. We may never know. And that's crazy. But what do you guys think? Do you think people were born this way, or do you think things happened to them in their childhood or somewhere along their journey in this life that turned them into these despicable monsters? Comment below. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like this video. I will see you guys in my next one, but until then, I hope to see you in the comment section. Bye.